Yes, sir, we can start. Thank you, sir. So, thank you all the participants for coming to the session, and especially Vedka sir for giving me this opportunity again to speak among you. And it is one of the greatest thing that you are doing continuously from March, nearly 294 sessions. That's a very good thing. And I have attended few sections, and I feel that new things are being coming up every day. For example, last week I have seen a session where they introduced a topic called flipped learning. So I thought, okay, I will also bring some innovative topic in this arena. So my topic for today is actually the diaspora's direct investment. So we all know about FDI, but many of them doesn't know about DDI, which is actually a form of FDI. So I just wanted to give an overview of what is it. I think I will start my presentation here. Yes. So can we continue?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So before moving into the topic, I would like to say that I'm actually have completed my MCOM and MA Economics, and actually now I'm doing something called as migration and diaspora. It's a very new study to Indian economy. It is famous in other countries. For example, if you take US or UK, we have a diasporic study, but in India, especially, it is mostly used in political scenarios and not in the economic or the commerce region for that matter. So let's understand what a diaspora means first, then we'll move on to the diasporic direct investment. So here, if you see, this is one area which is gaining importance nowadays. And but the problem here is in India, we don't have much people who talk about the diasporas. So if you just go and type diasporic direct investment or just diaspora, you'll find many articles which are relevant to foreign countries and not to India actually. So if anyone who is interested in doing a PhD or anyone who is interested in doing finances which is related to FDI, I ask you to look upon this topic as one innovative one and which can help you in the future. So if you see, India is one country where we have a large number of people. So you know, especially now, India has become the largest country now with the highest population. We crossed China this June. So obviously, we have large amount of people who is living and as well as leaving India. You have seen people increasingly taking the GATE exams. They are going abroad. They are applying for H-1B visas, and they are going to US and UK and other countries. And one significant thing is, if you take all the countries of the world, even the smallest island, I think very smallest islands of the world also, we have one population of Indian at least. So it is given by the government data, which is very fascinating. If you go to Ministry of External Affairs, we have the data of the Indians living abroad. So in that we can see there is a small island called Sao Paulo Island. So even in that island, we have seen an Indian who is living over there. So Indians are everywhere. In fact, we can say they are like sunlight. We are everywhere on the earth. So on this area, I wanted to introduce this topic called diaspora as direct investment. Before moving on this, I have given few people here. Can any one of them identify? Can you just let me know in the comment box who are these people? Very prominent personalities who's having an Indian origin, we can say. This slide consists of four peoples who are like politically very strong. Yes, Kanchan, very good. So, the second person over here is Kamala Harris, the present Vice President of US. Okay, the yes, Kanchan again is right. The first one is the UK's Prime Minister, which is Rishi Sunak. Yes, the daring son-in-law of India, we can say. Okay, Surya has given something, but I can't read that language. Can anyone just translate what the comment is? Okay, okay, Rishi Sunak, yes. Yes, Surya, that's right. The first person in the picture is UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Is any idea who's the third and the fourth person is? Okay, I will just move on to the next slide. We have few prominent people there. Then we'll see who else is there. Yes. So we have 5 members here. Can anyone identify? Look like Prag Agarwal. No, so I didn't add him. So he's also one prominent individual, but unfortunately I didn't add him there. Okay. Kanjan Pandey and Premalata is giving it as Sundar Pichai. Yes, the first person over here is Sundar Pichai. Okay, I think Surya, you have given the answer. That is Vivek Ramasamy. Yes, the last person in the previous slide was Vivek Ramasamy, the Republican presidential candidate for the 2024 US elections. Yes. Okay. It is not Sudhamurthy's daughter. No, it's not Akshata. She resembles like her, but it is not Akshata. Any other person from economics background, can you just identify who is the second person in the picture? Yes, yes, you can see her in a different light. Others, any idea? Any one of the persons in this area? Sheila Balal. Okay, even she is prominent, but sorry, it is not Sheila Balal. Okay, how many of them knows about the organization called International Monetary Fund, that is IMF? Yes, Premlata, very good. So the second person in the picture is the MD, Managing Director of International Monetary Fund, Geeta Gopinath. Yes, Kanjan is right. The last person in the slide is Satya Nadella of Microsoft, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella. Yes. Okay. Yes, very good, Kanjan, Premlata, and Surya. Yes. So, very good, everyone, for your participation. So, let's see who are these people. And if you see the first person here, as you everyone told me, it is the Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of UK, and the son-in-law of Infosys co-founder Narayana Murthy. So the second person here is Kamala Harris, the Vice President of US, and the third person here is the Praveen Kumar Jugnauth, or we call it as Jagannath. So he is the Prime Minister of Mauritius. So in fact, Mauritius is a country where we have a large number of Indian people living, especially during the colonial times. These people has migrated to Mauritius as an indentured labor. Okay, like they wanted to work in the sugar plantation of Europeans, and they were migrated. And now, if you see, they are politically the strongest people there. So he is a second generation prime minister, we can say. His father was also a prime minister during Indira Gandhi's tenure. When Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, his father was the Prime Minister of Mauritius. And from that day till today, this country, this Mauritius, is having a relationship with India, good relationship with India. And we have Indians who are becoming Prime Ministers there. And the last person here is, as everyone told, it's Vivek Ramaswamy. As Surya told, he is the US Republican presidential candidate for the 2024 elections. So these are politically prominent people who have their origin or the roots in India. Okay, so the second slide consists of these people. The first one, Sundar Pichai, as you know, he has the one of the the largest computer companies in his hand, that is a Google and its parent company Alphabet. And the second one is Geeta Gopinath, the managing director of International Monetary Fund, IMF. And the third one is Ajay Banga. So he was actually with MasterCard, and now he is the president of World Bank Group. Okay, so if you see, IMF and World Bank are like the two sister concerns of the world economy. And those two, we have Indians or the people of Indian origin holding the highest position. And the fourth one here is Vinod Khosla. He is an Indian American who is known for his investments. He is called as a venture capitalist. I think you might have heard about the word called venture capitalist. So these are the people who invest in high-end technology, especially in startup, which is going to give high risk. So he is something like a very good, prominent startup investor, as we can see. And the last person over here is Satya Nadella, and the CEO of Microsoft. Yes. So one thing which is common among these people is that they have their roots in India. Okay, so we have a word called NRI, non-resident Indian. So for the income tax purpose, I think many of them would have done income tax here. So for the income tax purpose, if a person is a resident of a country for more than 182 days in one financial year, he is considered to be the resident. If not, he is considered to be the non-resident. So it is different from citizenship. So a citizen is a person who holds a passport of the country, whereas resident is a person who lives for 182 days in a country for the income tax purpose. But we use the term called diaspora here, DIASPORA. Diaspora means those persons who have the roots in one country and living in another country. Okay, for example, if you take Rishi Sunak grandparents, they were a part of undivided India. They moved to some African country and finally they migrated to UK. But they have their roots in India. Similarly, Kamala Harris also, they have their roots in India. So any person who is connected with one country and living in another country will become a diaspora. For example, so the Indians living abroad, they are considered to be Indian roots abroad, they are considered to be Indian diaspora. The major difference between NRI, non-resident Indian, and the diaspora is non-resident Indian may be a citizen of India. Okay, for example, let's say that you are going to study in Canada or UK for 10 or 1 or 2 years. Then it means that you are a citizen of India, but you are living in some other country. For the income tax purpose, you will become a non-resident. On the other hand, diaspora is a very inclusive term which consists of NRIs, persons of Indian origin, overseas citizen of India, and as well as anyone, even if it is for 5 or 10 generations back, if they have their roots in India, they are considered to be an Indian diaspora. Even in India, if you see, India is a country where we have so much number of people living. For example, after 1962, we have the Tibetans coming into India. So we have the Tibetan diaspora in India. We have Sri Lankans in India. We have Sudanese in India. We have so many people in India. India is a land which is accepting a majority of people from all the countries. Right from the Mughals or the Delhi Sultans, we have the inflow of people from one area to another. We have Persians, the Shahs, the Iranis, and all these people are also a part of the Iranian or the Persian diaspora who is living in India. So diaspora is a broader term. So historically, this term has been used for those people who are, forced to migrate from one part to another due to the terrorist activity or civil war or any other area of victimization. Nowadays, if you see, there are so many wars which is happening in the world, especially civil wars, and recently we have seen Israel-Palestine conflict. So all these are examples of forced displacement, which means you are bound to go from one place to another because of some problem which is happening in your homeland. So the first diaspora who came out is the Jewish. Jews started migrating from their own land due to their safety. And later on, what happened after the 17th or 18th century, people started moving out because of various reasons. Okay, because of money, because of trade, and other things. The starting was due to victimization. They just want to be secure. So they came from one place to another. But later on, it increases. So we have this organization called International Organization for Migration. It's called IOM. They study the migration impact. That migration is nothing but you go from one place to another in search of something. So they describe or define the diaspora as those people who are going to have their cultural link, or they maintain the link with other countries. I mean, their home country once they left India. I don't know whether you know this or not. If you see in USA, during the time of Diwali, USA, the White House, the president of USA, Joe Biden, he actually celebrated Diwali there. So we call it as Diwali diplomacy. Indians, they are celebrating Diwali there. There are universities in USA which has complete Telugu medium. They study Telugu schools are there, Telugu medium colleges are there. They are introducing Telugu language, Tamil language shares have been developed. PhD in Tamil is provided in US areas. And if you take Russia also, we have Hindi chair which is located. And in UAE, we have this particular, Hindi as one of those official working languages. So here, if you see, even though people move from our country, they maintain some sort of cultural link or ethnic link with our country. So this is the major definition of diaspora. And if you see here, there is one person called Cohen who describes diaspora into various aspects. He said that these people often go from one place to another due to a trauma, or they went for any work, okay, or they went for trade or for colonization. For example, if you take the Anglo-Indians in India nowadays, they are a part of the colonized Europeans. The Europeans came in search of trade. They colonized our economy. They settled, they married Indian women, and they settled here, and their children or descendants are called as Anglo-Indians. So they came for trade. They came for search of, homeland, for work. For example, we have the Armenians. In Chennai and as well as in Kolkata, we have a separate Armenian trade diaspora. Even nowadays, we can see Armenian churches or Armenian schools over there. Similarly, if you take Chinese, so Chinese were one of the people who came to India for working in sugar plantations. That's why if you take the colloquial term of sugar in West Bengal and other areas, it's called Chini. Chini is coming from the Chinese or China, which derived into Chini. So Chini is one word of sugar what we use nowadays. So they came in search of work as sugar plantation. They mingled with the people of India, and especially during the time of Indo-China War of 1962, we found that we are not able to differentiate between Indian and Chinese. So that was a thing what happened with the Chinese in India. So anywhere you take people from all over the country, they come mingle here and they create another offsprings of different ethnicity, we can say. And collective memory or myth about a homeland. For example, the Jerusalem is one point of contention between Israel and Palestine. So that is about the homeland myth. And similarly, ancestral home. Many people, NRIs, if you see, we have a program called Pravasya Bharatiya Divas. So this is a program which actually celebrates the return of Mahatma Gandhi to India. So as a result, we bring in the people, the Indian diaspora from abroad, to come and visit our culture, come and visit our places. And there is something called Know Your Roots campaign or something, wherein the people, especially the new generation, the 20 to 30-year-old youth, they are asked to come to India and look at the various monuments and other important cultural sites. So that is one thing what we are doing. So coming back to diaspora, we can classify them into various forms. One is victim diaspora; they just came out because of war and other victimization. Other one is labor diaspora. The best example is the Indians who went to Mauritius as sugar plantation workers, Fiji, and other countries for that matter. And the third one is imperial or colonial diaspora. Because of colonial legacy, they went out. The best example is Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi, he became he did his law. He went to South Africa. He worked there and he came back. He's one best example of imperial or colonial diaspora. We have trade diasporas who came for trade. I think I have mentioned this. I don't know whether you know this or not. There is one particular community called Hakki Pikki. Hakki Pikki is a community in Karnataka. So this particular tribal community, they used to go to Sudan, Somalia, and other countries in Africa to sell their tribal products. Okay, they are a very good trade community who has a long link with African countries. So last time when there was a civil war which was broken in the African nation, they were actually brought back by Indian embassy. So like that, many people they go abroad to sell their products. So even they are considered to be trade diasporas, and the cultural diaspora is entirely different. You can see many people celebrating Diwali, and the Punjabian dances are getting favorable. Shivaji festival is getting importance. Ganesh Utsav is getting importance. Almost all the festivals what we celebrate in India is celebrated nowadays in foreign countries. So that is also one example of cultural diaspora. So this is about diaspora. I hope you get a better idea of diaspora. So diaspora is a common term which involves all the people of Indian origin who is living abroad, be it an NRI, be it a refugee, or be it any other person who is of Indian origin. So they are considered to be diasporas. Now, coming to the main question here. So, what is a diaspora direct investment? See, this particular question was not, I don't know what is a diaspora direct investment 2 or 3 years back. In 2021, there was one news information during the time of COVID. We received that India was blocking the foreign direct investment from China. So indirectly, what India did was India gave a policy. If any of the countries who is having a boundary with India, if they want to bring an FDI, they have to get clearance from the Ministry of Home Affairs. So if you see the countries which are sharing a border with India, one we have Pakistan. So Pakistan obviously will not bring in any type of investment in India because they are struggling by themselves. The next country is Nepal. So Nepal is actually a net receiver from India. India and Nepal has a mobility agreement, and we help Nepal in many ways. Nepal is a net beneficiary of India, so they don't give much, but we give to them more. Similarly, Bangladesh. Bangladesh is like the friendly neighbor, and 1971, India was the first country to help Bangladesh to become a separate nation. So India is not threatened by Bangladesh. But trading is different. If you see trade, Bangladesh is actually one of the country which is surpassing India's trade nowadays, especially in the jute sector. That is different. But if you take the beneficial sector, even Bangladesh is getting benefit from India. And the next country to share the border with India was Bhutan. So Bhutan is also getting benefit from India. So one country is China, is the only country where India is having a net negative trade, which means India it was exposed during the COVID time, especially when there was a supply lockdown. We found that many medicines, many medical items, what we are using nowadays is of Chinese origin. Even the raw materials we are getting from China. And when you look at almost all the major items, we become a net giver for China. We have a net trade negative balance with China. And as a result, government started taking various measures. And once this measure was, to bring out the origin of those inputs. What China did was, China started investing more in Indian companies. If you take this 2020 news article, I couldn't find the article now, but it was published in Hindu as well as Indian Express. So it is stating that whatever consumer products you use, be it Swiggy, Zomato, or be it the products like Ola or Uber, or be it your education systems like Byju's or Unacademy, be it any type of startup companies which is having an effect on Indian consumers, majority of the investments are from the Chinese. So this is on one side. So we can see majority of investment are from Chinese. On the other hand, it was an era where the Indians like, the Sundar Pichai or Rishi Sunak or other people, they are making news worldwide. So it is a two extreme things. On one side, we are getting more amount of Chinese investment. and not Indian overseas investment. On the other hand, Indians are gaining politically and economically strong in the Western and Eastern countries. So this becomes a part of contention. So Indians are very strong abroad. We have a very large population. India is getting the highest remittance in the world. For the past 8 to 9 years, India is the country which is receiving the largest amount of remittance in the world as per the World Bank survey. Remittance means an amount which you transfer from one place to another, a unilateral amount. You will not give it back, you are just giving. Let's say you are going and working abroad, you send money to your parents. That is an example of remittance. So India is the largest remittance receiver of the world. So we have all these things. But if you see, the investments from the people of India is very less when you compare with other countries. Even the People's Bank of China, like how we have the RBI, similarly they have the People's Bank of China. So they have a large amount of investment in the Indian banking system also. So there comes the question, why Indians, especially those who are settled in abroad, they are ready to send money to their home country, like their people, okay, their kins, their father, mother and all. Why not investments? So this question opens a new arena for this area called as diaspora's direct investment. So diaspora direct investment is actually a part of foreign direct investment. So we can go for a larger circle, which is foreign investment. Foreign investment can be divided into various types. For example, we have the foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, foreign institutional investment. So any of the classic courses, if you see, we know all these differences. We have foreign borrowings and other things also. So under foreign direct investment, we have a separate area called as diaspora direct investment, wherein people of Indian origin are going to invest in the Indian organizations or Indian startup or Indian small enterprises, be it anything. Okay, so it may not be only Indians, but it may be companies which are having allies with the Indians. For example, if you take Google, Google is a US based company, but we have Sundar Pichai, okay, an Indian who is heading that particular company. So if he or the Google invests in India, it becomes a part of the diaspora's direct investment. Okay, so under diaspora's direct investment, we have one separate area called NRI investment. See, NRI investment is a small area. Okay, a citizen of India who is living abroad, if he is investing, that is called NRI investment. Whereas diaspora is also involving Indian NRI and a person of Indian origin and other Indians also of Indian origin. So we have FDI, in which a small circle is DDI, in which a small circle will be NRI investment. Okay, so simply we can say it is any investment which is done by individuals or other person who is living abroad. Now, this investment, as I told you, it can be of two types. One is a person. You are an individual, you have so much money, you invest by yourself. The second one, you work with a company who is having a larger criteria and you ask them to invest here. So both are considered to be NRI. I will give you an example. A few months back, we have this Facebook investing in Geo products. So that is one example, because we Indians are working in higher areas of Facebook operations. Okay, so if you take most of the engineers in NASA, we know this, always we get this WhatsApp forward and all. We Indians are everywhere. Okay, so any type of investments. And I have seen this, I have shown this person called Vinod Koshla. So he is one of the venture capitalists who invest in many organizations. Okay, so that is one example what we have. Similarly, so the major difference is, remittance means you give it to the family members, whereas diaspora direct investment means you exclusively invest in companies which are in need. Okay, if you see, we have so many news articles which is coming nowadays. For example, recently, a week back, we got this news article stating that India tops remittance flow at US dollar 125 billion in 2023. It was the largest. And similarly, this person over here is Michael Patra. He is one of the, deputy governors of RBI. He states that Indian economy is benefiting more from diaspora. And especially if you see, diaspora engagement has become more relevant for the past 8 to 9 years. We have seen people coming out and giving their best for Indians. Okay, especially if you have seen in UAE, we are getting. Last week we have a summit in UAE where Indian diaspora was one. It was a great show. Similarly, in US, Times Square and all those areas, we are seeing Indian people coming out. So that is one thing. And similarly, how this is going to help the India's investment? This investment may be of different types. For example, one, you can directly invest. The second one is through real estate. So one best example is the DLF is a Indian development company, that real estate development company. It got more amount of sales only through non-resident Indians. Okay, especially people living in US, UK, and Singapore. They are on Gulf regions, UAE, and other countries for that matter. They started purchasing more amount of apartments in India. Yes. So I think we might have, yes, as Kanjan is saying, it is a brain drain. We talk about students. Brain drain means as people study here, we go abroad, we work for them, and as a result, our expertise is not used in India, but it is used somewhere in the world. So on one hand, this particular brain drain is happening. On the other hand, indirectly or directly, we have this brain gain. We can call it as brain gain. We are gaining something. So we are gaining the remittance, which is used by senior citizens. I have seen people, there are some senior citizens like 60 or 60 plus years old whose son or daughter is living in US. So what they are doing, they are sending money every day here, and they go for all types of tours in India. They go for the Char Dham Yatra, and what else? They go for everywhere. They deposit their money in small savings account, in postal savings, and they deposit the money in LIC. So those type of deposit is also helpful for Indian economy. So other thing is, as I told you, this particular real estate boom, real estate sector is also booming because of diaspora's direct investment. And one more good example is that due to the presence of Indians everywhere, Indian products and the classical products are demanded abroad. Okay, one best thing is, can you see this news article which was released on November 4 stating two brothers from Pune, organic farms, they are selling their products to Indian diaspora in US. Similarly, the Indian cultural products, okay, be it a sari or be it a bangles or any other products, is also being sold to other countries. Very well. So this e-commerce, the boom of e-commerce, along with the Indian diasporic demand all over, it is increasing the particular demand for Indian consumer products abroad also. So that is also one type of advantage what Indian economy is getting due to this diaspora's direct investment. So I would like to give one example here. For example, we have this app called Grow App. Grow App is a share marketing app. So the investment in Grow App is actually done by Satya Nadella. Satya Nadella, he invested money in this Grow App. So that is one good example of the diaspora direct investment we have. And similarly, we have Paytm, the UPI Paytm we have. So Sundar Pichai invested in Paytm. So that is also an example of DDI, diaspora direct investment. And we have so many people who is investing in small startups. But the problem here is, I hope many of the persons are either in the research field or assistant professors in commerce and economics. It is actually an interdisciplinary field. When we study about diaspora, it's a field which involves sociology, political science, economy, as well as commerce. If any of the person is from these fields, this one area is having an untapped potential for research. Just do a research on diasporic investment. We don't have much amount. Even the government data, what we have is for FDI. We have data for FDI. We have data for diasporas living abroad, but we don't have the data of people who is investing in India. Diasporas who is investing in India. We have data for remittance. Remittance is different. But we don't have data for diasporic investment in India, and its after effect or spillover effect. So if anyone is interested, this is one good topic, and I request people to do this particular area. So it has a large number of potential benefits like investment opportunities and other areas. And for also the home countries, we have, we can also go for technological transfers. Okay, Indians, when they go abroad, they are considered to be one of the brightest minds. We create so many inventions. So bring those inventions back to our country. Okay, for example, you might have heard about the metro stations. In metro stations, we have, the power which is running everywhere. But there is one station in Switzerland which uses the human movement for power generation. A simple issue. Let's say that you enter a metro station and you put a card. Okay, once you put a card, the gate opens. And that is a power consumption, right? But what this particular Switzerland did, they created some sort of windmill. Okay, like how we have windmill wings. Similarly, they created windmill wings in the entrance. So whenever you enter through that, the windmill actually rotates. So with the help of the windmill rotation, they were able to generate power. So this is one example of sustainability what we have. We are generating power with zero usage of thermal or zero usage of wind, and we don't need to use energy. Just by just human movement, we are going to have this innovation. And especially the countries like India, which is developing, we use a large amount of power or electricity or petrol-based products. So these type of innovations is going to help Indians a lot. These people may not be in India, okay, but the expertise can help Indians. For example, we have this bank in Nigeria. So most of the banks in Nigeria, even the Nigerian central bank, they have a separate account or separate area for diaspora's investment. Nigeria is one of the most, backward countries of the world. We can consider it as a third world country, but now it is developing. But Nigerian people are very good in healthcare because of their colonial history. The Europeans and the French, they taught them English and they taught them nursing and the healthcare options. So how we have Kerala nurses in India, similarly, the Nigeria is known for the healthcare professionals. So once they study healthcare, they move to abroad for better opportunities. But you know what happened when once they move abroad, they started contributing to the economy every month or every year, for that matter, a separate percentage. And the banks, they get amount from diaspora and they invest in the small and medium scale businesses. They have a direct connection. They will ask diaspora, okay, this person is starting a business. If you could please contribute to that. Most of the underdeveloping countries and African countries, they are making use of this model to directly tap the diaspora's amount into the startup ecosystem. In India also we have few organizations, okay, like Koshla has a Koshla Ventures, which is working, and similarly there are so many incubators in the area. For example, we have incubators in IIT Madras and other IITs, wherein the alumni will come and give money or come and invest. So alumni are actually living abroad, so most of the alumni are living abroad. So that is one good example. But the problem here is many small enterprises, especially if you see the second and third tier cities of India, we have people who studied in second and third tier colleges. They have good knowledge, they have good employability skills, but the problem is they are not able to find the funding resources. So what you can do is you can just approach. See, normally when you go abroad, people send money to their families. So you can just ask the families to invest. So that is one thing which we can do. But the problem here is once you go abroad, many people, they are not ready to come back to India or ready to invest in India because they fear that their investment will go into a loss. They don't believe in our potential. So they are ready to invest in US or the developing countries because they get more returns. But the small scale business, let's say very small cottage industries or very small kitchen based local industries, home based industries, they can also get investment from people who is living abroad. But that is not happening. So that is one change what we need. Okay, so the lack of awareness or the information or the opportunities in the home country is one problem what we have. But nowadays, what India is doing, we have an organization called Invest India Bureau. And they have a separate website for this, www.investindia and www.startupindia.com. They create exhibitions and they showcase the business opportunities abroad. For example, as I told you, the Chinese influence were more in 2021. Especially there is one sector, which is a toy sector. We use toys for us children's, right? So 85% of the Indian toys are from the Chinese market. So we wanted to encourage the Indian toys. Okay, I will give you one example. There is a area called Chennapatna in Karnataka, which is known for these wooden toys. Similarly, in Andhra, we have the Nirmal, which is known for its wooden toys. So these are like sustainable toys. They are not plastic and they don't harm the children's health. They are of wooden toys. So India created something called as Toyathon. Toyathon is where we actually exhibited. It was during COVID time. We started exhibiting virtual exhibition also, giving this a wide range of the Indian toys. We started exhibiting that. So we started attracting investments. Not only that, when any other foreign dignitary comes to India, Indian executives, they started presenting the Indian products, okay, be it an Indian chessboard or Indian small toys to the dignitaries. So this gained fame in the international arena. So Indian diaspora is also demanding those toys, and even India nowadays, people started demanding those toys again. So that is one positive change which happened in the toy sector. So similarly, many sectors need such intervention, but everything government cannot do. And since there is a lack of research, if you are ready to take one sector, just go and find out what is the impact and what type of opportunities it is available. And if you just do it, this is going to be helpful. Let's say that if you are having a problem with funding, you just go and approach. Let's say you do a mini project, okay, mini project of one area. Just take a data of 500 people, do a project. So go and submit this to other organizations. Like we have the Ministry of External Affairs. Go and submit to them. Ministry of Commerce and Industries, or you can just submit that in the Invest India portal or the Startup India portal. So government will give you funding where you can expand the project in a higher scale. Be it a Maharashtra, you can expand to the entire state. Okay, and you can help the business, especially the small and medium scale business. You can help the farmers through creating a farmer producer organization with the help of the diaspora's investment. Okay. Yes, so that's it. I just wanted to give an overview of this diaspora's investment. We don't have much research which is available with respect to India. We have research result to remittances. Research of remittance is there, but we don't have much research on diaspora. So this is my small effort on giving out the basics or the needed things about diaspora. So do you have any questions? Thank you.
Very good evening, sir. A very good evening, Jaya ma'am, and everyone present here. I would like to discuss with ma'am that I agree with all whatever she said, and I even remember one example that I have seen sometime before, that the charpai of the ancient culture we are using from so many generations. In India, it is in present at present it costs like 3,000 or 4,000 rupees, but in Australia it is sold for 4 lakh rupees, and it's easily available on Amazon. So that's a good way of attracting the foreign markets towards Indian products. And I was amused to see that the nominal costing here is paid in 1,000 times there. So I was very much amused with that thing, that how we Indians and our products are reaching globally, worldwide, that we can earn money from a large source of market. The global market is there, that the Indian products are sold. Like in Germany also, we are having MNCs. So in France and Germany is also. So we are having multiple contracts there. Bilateral contracts are also there. That also contribute to our investment sources. And metro is one of the example that everyone knows. When in Japan there was a huge earthquake, so our remittances helped them to survive. A lot of payment is offered to them for metro construction. The first metro project was actually initiated by Japanese technology, and then the Indian companies are paying them off a huge amount. So definitely, as we know that the balance of payments consider into the both credit and debit aspects. So we can see that our products are definitely increasing. And one example I also remember is that Tihar jail, the central jail of India, and the Delhi also especially. So we exhibit the products made by the prisoners. Basically, if people from Delhi are present here, they would be knowing that the trade fair is run off every year in Delhi. Abhi, the last week it was there. It was in last month, November. So the products made by the prisoners were specially sold off in the Indian International Trade Fair (IITF) at Prakriti Maidan, and they also have a local exhibition or shops nearby Tihar Jail that we can buy their products from. For example, as we have scented sticks, that dhoop we commonly say, or agabattis we can say. So it also attracts a number of foreigners as well as number of investors towards our market. Uh, we are having three Delhi hearts. Basically, all the handicraft made by such people is exhibited in the Delhi Hat, and we can purchase it offline and online also by visiting the site of ministries. And we are also having the products made by disabled, as like I one of my student presented a newspaper pencil to me. So these kind of things are very much useful, as well as our ancient science, that is Ayurveda, we commonly know. So we are into the medical sector from so many years, and a lot of medical items are being exported to all over the world, catching and catching a huge share of investment. Thank you, ma'am, for. Sir, I remembered these examples, like even after after listening ma'am's lecture, that a lot of products are yet being sold into the foreign markets by our Indian companies also. Companies and the local manufacturers, that MSME is boosting a lot for this. Thank you, ma'am, for listening me patiently. And thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to present myself.
Thank you, Chetna. It was good information. So that was I'm saying, sir. Especially, sir organized a seminar on e-conference. So whatever you are saying is more applicable to that international e-conference what sir was talking about earlier. I mean, last week we had this conference. So, but my point is that even though we have all these, the research on diaspora is missing. Diaspora's investment. That is what I'm giving here. Okay, so any of the professors who is interested, please start a research on that particular area. Yes, sir. Dr. Shukla, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Bedkar sir, Principal sir, Prashant sir. Good evening, ma'am. Wonderful presentation and a very new subject for at least for me. Maybe some people are knowing about this subject, but wonderful presentation. The one thing, what I can recognize from your lecture is, our people are, they are having a talent and intelligence, and they are carrying their intelligence to the other countries and serving for those countries. And many of the times people are interested in taking nationality of that particular areas, and then they don't want to they cut down the our own country. So what Nigeria is doing is really wonderful. So is there any kind of legislations are there for this, controlling this kind of transactions, or this kind of people who are going abroad? Those people who are there, whether they are sending some money, they are paying some tax or something like that, there should be some kind of restrictions. So there must be some laws and legislations for this. So can you elaborate on this? Thank you.
Okay, actually, how many of them knows Bhagavati, sir? I don't know, Jagdish Bhagavati. He proposed something called as brain tax. So brain tax is someone who goes abroad and they are earning abroad, they have to pay some type of tax to the home country. But in India, it is irrelevant because if you see, Indians bring in large amount of remittance, especially in the BOP, our remittance is keeping the current account as positive. So it was not practically possible to us also because India doesn't have much information. We know that people are living abroad, but once they renounce its citizenship, unless until they say that they are of Indian origin, we doesn't know. So we can't go and find out a person and ask them to pay a tax or something. But this proposal was given by the Professor Jagdish Bhagavati sir for brain tax. But at the same time, we have commission. India doesn't have a special commission for diaspora engagement. We have embassies and the Ministry of External Affairs who is working towards it. But countries like Nigeria, they have something called Diaspora Commission, which actually look into those activities. They have a regular, because their diaspora is very less. Okay, so they were able to track those diasporas and they were able to bring in investment. But the problem in India is the people who live abroad is very huge. It is not possible for us to literally track them until they get the PIO card or OCI card. It is not possible for the Indian embassies or the government to find that they are of Indian origin. And legislation, it is a multicultural area, multi-country area. So even signing a bilateral agreement is becoming difficult. After 2007, even a bid contract is becoming difficult nowadays for trade. So leave alone bringing an international registration, that would be more difficult, sir. So we don't have registrations there, but it is only a voluntary contributions from the people as of now, which is needed. And especially the government is giving importance to them also. For example, government has created something called as the Indian Culinary Award or something, wherein they give awards to those people who are providing the Indian restaurants abroad. They something like the 5-star restaurant tag. Similar to that, Indian government is giving a best cultural tag to them. So like this, they are encouraging the people, but we don't have separate registrations to work on that.
Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful presentation, really, and wonderful explanation also. My question is, if suppose if we can get some kind of legislation, we will strengthen our country, one thing. And second thing, we are losing potential. People are thinking that the human being, the human resource is going to other place. But it is not just a human resource, it is one of the very wealth, we can say, what we can say, the talent people, the intelligence is going somewhere else, and they are strengthening the other countries. So I think there should be some kind of, a stringent law for this. And there should be, the people who are applying abroad and want to work outside or take education, there should be some kind of tax, because when people are migrating from India to other countries, yes, definitely there are some, they have to pass everything. So over there, I think there should be some kind of break. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your presentation.
So thank you for your insight on the taxes. Yes, any other questions? Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.